That's not a good thing. And recall, applications are still open if you consider yourself an artist.
Yep. March 14th, you got time.
All right. As you may have heard, it is a big day here at Viacom CBS. We are launching our new streaming service, Paramount Plus. It's a platform that features original programming, including a new season of a wildly popular show that's going to make some of us feel very old. MTV's The Real World Homecoming New York brings together the original 7 housemates from the series, and their first season was 29 years ago. The show is credited with pioneering the reality TV genre, and our Vlad Duthiers got the opportunity to reminisce with 2 of the original cast members and to revisit some of the show's groundbreaking and controversial moments. Feeling old, Vlad? Good morning again.
It's just a state of mind, my friend, just a state of mind. Good morning. This is the cast now. And if the picture seems familiar, here's why. Look at them in the exact same poses from 29 years ago. Reality TV is everywhere now, but at the time, the show was nearly unprecedented as Americans tuned in to see what happened when. As the show's tagline went, people stop being polite and start getting real.
This is the true story. True story.
7 strangers.
In 1992,
picked to live in a loft.
MTV executives took a gamble on a new type of show.
What? When people stop being polite.
Part soap opera, part documentary.
The real world.
When I walked through the doors, I saw a new world. Just walk around.
This is where we live.
7 young adults from different backgrounds moved into a New York City loft for 3 months, with MTV cameras rolling.
I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 months. I hope everyone gets along.
Heather B. Gardner, at the time a rapper with a rising music career, joined the cast of what became TV's first reality show.
There was no blueprint, and I think they captured 7 20-year-olds trying to figure it out.
They're absolute pigs. My roommates are pigs.
If you make something and you eat, just put the dish in the dishwasher.
I walk in and half the people have sunglasses on, so I was thinking to myself, okay, people don't want to look each other in the eyes here.
Kevin Powell was one of the 7.
Let's see what happens. It's like this experiment. I had no idea it was going to become a phenomenon and change the course of American TV history. Who knew?
I admired the black race. I really do.
The Real World became a phenomenon, partly because of the uncomfortable, unscripted conversations it captured between Kevin and his roommates.
Black people are by far dominant over white in all sports.
First of all, you start off with stereotypes. Just like, you're superior in sports and entertainment. That's what a lot of people, white people, think that's all black people can do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an athlete, man. I'm not a singer. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a rapper. I'm a writer. Have you ever met a black writer before?
The conversations about race and racism, which turned into arguments about race and racism, those things actually happened.
That's part of the problem.
What do you know about the black-white thing?
It's a reality.
Were they heated? Yep. Were they passionate? Yep. Were we coming from where we were at that time? Absolutely. And it's interesting because so many people of so many races and backgrounds have said to me, I never heard conversations about race and racism like that in my life.
You don't know. You're 19 years old.
Groundbreaking and controversial, the seasons that followed tackled other sensitive topics head-on.
I've made a decision that I'm going to terminate the pregnancy.
Like abortion and AIDS.
You have to understand, AIDS is part of my life.
3 seasons in, cast member Pedro Zamora became the first person openly living with HIV/AIDS to be featured on reality television. But Zamora lost his fight with the disease. He died just hours after the season finale aired.
I thought that was probably one of the most powerful moments in TV. The fact that he would even do it because he wanted to bring awareness to this dreadful disease, I think it's probably one of the most significant moments in the history of reality TV, period.
Pedro became a member of all of our families. Now, no one in America can say they've never known someone who's living with AIDS.
This says something about the importance of the real world because we literally capture some things that happened that shaped this country. For that, I'm very proud of being a part of the show.
What does being totally committed mean to you?
After 32 seasons on cable TV, The Real World's biggest legacy is what followed in its wake. The countless other reality shows, and a share-everything culture.
Get out of our way!
How did it change everything? Think about TikTok, think about social media, Instagram Live, Facebook Live. When I see these things, I think of our season of The Real World. You know what I mean? Just the people just opening up, exposing themselves, sharing their lives. that all started with us. It's really deep, but it really did start with us. I can't believe we're in the same place.
It still smells the same. It still looks the same. Okay, we are officially re-roommated.
Kevin, Heather, and the rest of the original cast are poised to finish what they started almost 3 decades ago. In January, they reunited for a week at the same New York City loft.
Not many people are forced to look at themselves. We had to go back and look at episodes from 1992.
And it wasn't comfortable at times.
Why wasn't it comfortable?
Minus 29 years off your life right now. And just think about the person who you were back then and how you thought and what you said. And as an adult now, you have to sit and hear it. Not only see yourself, but hear it.
Think about if Americans, us, all of us, were able to go back in our lives and, like, you know, did you ever say or do something, you know, that you need to, you know, process here? How have you evolved from then to now? What have you done? Most of us don't get to look back.
Indeed, we don't get to look back. It turns out not all 7 cast members were able to reunite in that New York City loft. Eric, who went on to host a dance show on MTV, had to join the homecoming virtually. The Real World producers mastered the art of a tease. As it turns out, 29 years later, that's still the case. So you'll just have to tune in to find out exactly why.
Wow. I love what they said at the end there about, you know, going back and looking at yourself 29 years ago. I'm not sure any of us really want to do that.
Because, you know, they all talked about evolving.
Yeah.
A lot of the attitudes and the way they were 21, 22 years old.
Yeah.
And some of the things that they were doing and saying, they're not those same people now.
Yeah.
All of them.
It's a special show in part because they were saying those things on television without social media commenting in real time.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think it probably altered the freeness of the conversation in a way that was positive. I mean, it really was the real world those first few seasons.
And those archetypes that they invented, essentially, they continued. The ingenue who comes from the Midwest or from the South, who's never been to the big city.
Yeah.
You know, even Kevin acknowledges that he was the first angry black man on television, even though the things that he was talking about back then have become the norm now. The ideas that he was living.
It did seem to be very real and honest conversation. I mean, very aptly titled, The Real World.
That show was not scripted, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, like unlike some reality shows now.
It did not appear to be scripted at all.
And they didn't, you know, the idea of what you're talking about, Anthony, the conversations they were having happened in real time.
Yeah.
The dishes. You don't ever see people talking about dishes on, you know, Survivor or
I
The
will
Bachelor.
make one point of that was not real. When I moved to New York 10 years later, my apartment did not look like their wall. And I had cockroaches crawling over my legs, and I can feel them now even when I talk about it. So
some things are not real.
Well, those days are over. Your cockroach days are over.
They're not.
This is New York. The cockroach days are never over.
I saw a rat yesterday. All right, Vlad, thank you very much. And Vlad's conversation with Heather and Kevin continues on today's CBS This Morning podcast. And that rat was on my deck, by the way. You can watch MTV's The Real World.